if the trenches were eating before, motherfucker, we are going to be diabetic now, okay? This shit is a game changer. Today, I launched an indicator with the help and mainly all of the work done by Flux Charts. If you don't know who they are, goated fucking developer team. Shout out Michael, shout out Russ, and everybody at the Flux team. Genuinely one of the best fucking like groups of fucking goats, bro. They took care of everything we needed. They reached out to me 2 or 3 months ago back in June, and they noticed I was charting all my shit manually on stream, and they were like, "This shit, brother, you can make an indicator for this." I'm like, "Wait, actually, everything you see on the screen." Not even including the IFFEGs, okay? If you don't know my strategy, just stay tuned. I'll kind of explain some stuff. Even IFFEGs, all this shit, just give it a second. All these levels, this sea of fucking levels, all of it was manually charted. That's why I was always late to stream, and I was just constantly just a chaotic mess, bro. It was chaotic, and I couldn't fucking do it. It was impossible, okay? They came to me, and they developed an indicator after about 2 months of work that accurately charts out every single one of my confluences that I invented. All of my stuff. The macro confluences. The troop shit. Okay, the shit that I made. They studied all my rules. I sat down with them for hours, and they finally put together this absolute fucking masterpiece for my community. You do not need to buy this indicator. Okay? You're not going to... Like, my family's going to eat and retire off this shit. A lot of your families are going to eat and retire off this shit. But if you don't bother to study my strategy, you don't bother to understand how this shit actually works, you're not going to be able to fucking buy it and go, millions. No, that's not how this fucking works. This takes out probably 10 hours out of the week that I don't have to spend charting shit out. Not to mention the stress, not to mention the fact that I might not be accurate with my levels. Humans are slow and inaccurate. All of my levels, I chart them. I miss a couple. They'd be off by a couple centimeters. They wouldn't tick right. There's so many reasons why what I was doing was bad. And it's not to fucking discredit, my trading, but it's not for no reason that the very first week that I started using the indicator, which was last week, full-time on stream, it was my biggest week ever. We made $120,000 on stream for my community. Fucking crazy. Like, literally insane. And that was because I wasn't stressed about charting my levels. They were all accurate. I have the trust of knowing that my levels are going to work and everything is there. I don't have to put any work in. Now it's all about discretion, all about just being alive and being able to think and be able to properly analyze the markets. This is just taking all the guesswork out of it. I always say this, you should not be discredited as a trader because you're not fucking Picasso. A trader should be good based on their ability to handle their emotions, to size incorrectly, consistency, everything but drawing on a fucking canvas, brother. Everything but that. And yet my trading was basically dependent on whether or not I drew out my levels correctly, so I was getting fucked on a consistent daily basis. Not to go too deep on that, but they solved my fucking problems. So let's get into all the features of the indicator. Genuinely going to change fucking lives with this shit. I'm very excited to see how many payouts we get from it. My life is already drastically different since it's dropped, so shout out to the Flux team. Let's get into it. So this charts out every single FFEG from the 1 minute to the 5 minute time frame. So if you look at and you study my rules, you'll understand how FFEGs form. It charts out every single first fair value gap that forms after a buy side or sell side sweep of liquidity. You can see them here. You can see them here. You're probably wondering, well, what about the inverses that are left here? Well, until they're mitigated, they're still displayed. If you turn on IFFEGs, inverse first fair value gaps, meaning first fair value gaps that get inverted, they get left behind and you can continue to use them as levels. This is the old version of the indicator, so it looks fugly as hell. Yours should look a lot better, and you can actually customize all the borders and all this shit as well. This is an old version. This is the one I haven't updated mine to the script that you guys use. But you can see, and in case you don't know, every move the market makes, every strategy out there, can all be boiled down to FFEGs. Every single one, forever and always. There's no exception to this. Every single move can be attributed to a first fair value gap. Every single one. This is time tested. This is the most confluential confluence you can have in a backtester strategy. I can promise you that. Every other strategy that exists probably uses it and doesn't even know it. 4-hour fair value gaps, the ones that work, FFEGs. Rise zones, sorry, Bonka. Love you, man. Love you, Matt. Love you, buddy. Love you to death. Love you to pieces. Love Rise. Rise is awesome. But the Rise zones that work are FFEGs. The Rise zones that don't work aren't FFEGs. I've shown this to him, but not love them. Okay, do what you got to do. Make your bread. I'm going to make my bread. We're going to do our little thing and shit. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we kiss. But FFEGs, completely taken care of from the 5 minute to the 1 minute time frame. You can even toggle which ones you want to show. The labels in the midline. It's fucking goated. IFFEGs as well. If you want to go and learn about them, I'm dropping a new video talking about why they work and what they are later on. there is already one that's already on them. You can go and watch that if you want to. It's about 50 minutes long. I'm going to try and make one that's under 10. So that's going to be coming hopefully this week, maybe tomorrow, if I can do my best at that. But it'll explain FFEGs and why they work and all that shit, so you can go into depth on what they are and how we use them, okay? These are actually 2 trades that we took. This is a day that we actually traded, so you can go back and kind of watch the VOD in case you want to see. And it was completely 10 times harder to trade because I was manually charting my zones. FFEGs, IFFEGs taken care of. Another big thing, it charts out every single high-res source of liquidity. Anything that sweeps something is a source of liquidity. AM high, 5-minute buy side, 5-minute buy side, PM high, PM low, 5-minute sell side, 5-minute sell side, everything you could ever want. All your draws of liquidity on every time frame. You can look at every single time frame and see different draws. And even if you don't use my shit, you can even go to the hourly and see the fucking hourly shit. And there's so many use cases for it. You got to work on it. You just got to go in there and apply it to your model and just see how you like it. Okay? It will take care of that shit for you. This is really just for the person that's studying my shit and wants to ease their trading with my shit. So every draw liquidity drawn out for you. When one equity takes a high or one equity takes a low, the other one doesn't, or if they both take the high or low, it'll pop up with these little rings for S&Ts, convergences, divergences, everything you need. Taking the low, not taking the low, taking a high, not taking a high, all that shit. It is fucking goated. The way you set that up, if you go in here, you go down here. If you're on NQ, set this to ES. If you are on ES, set it to NQ, and it'll tell you when there's a bullish or bearish divergence or whatever. It is fucking clean as hell. Now, in real time, it can fuck it up because obviously the sweeps can process. So just make sure you refresh your screen if it still takes the low. It just takes time sometimes. So just go and take a look at that. It's fucking crazy. Take care of that shit for you as well. Another big thing that was updated in this, we used to use what was called EQ range. This is an indicator I made back in college. It is fucking dog shit compared to the one I have recently made with the Alpha Flux charts. It is way more accurate, and it is the precision point for exiting a trade once in EQ. When you PO3 in EQ range, you are done. This is the equilibrium of the market. There is no other explanation for it. There's no, oh, it's an estimation. No, this is EQ. When you are in a retracement, when you're going to EQ range, this is where you take profit. Now, here's the thing about EQ range, a longer video coming out on that as well. It's tickable. The top and the bottom of EQ range are top and bottom ticks, meaning if we are not going to PO3 and this is not going to be the respective equilibrium, I'm not saying that this is the EQ forever and always. No. Because obviously when you open up on the New York AM Open, it's going to fucking fly around and do some crazy shit. You will only use this when you're in a retracement and you have a target and it'll be EQ. Now, it's top and bottom tickable, meaning if you get pointers, and again, I'll make a more congruent video on this in the future, or comprehensive video on this in the future. If you're in a retracement trade, you'll target the top and the bottom. If you get pointers away from them, you are out fully. If it rejects EQ range and continues to dump, then you're just taking profit at the next draw of liquidity or FFEG that you get a pointer off of, then that would be the one that we take back up to EQ range. A good example of this is right here. Okay, you can see we have this retracement style trade. I'm gonna turn off my old EQ range because it just fucking blows, bro. It's fucking horrible. Okay, there was a trade, and funny enough, another part of the indicator, it outlines pointers. If you don't know what a pointer is what we call an efficient break in structure. This is developed as well to draw out when I'm taking an entry. Now, that doesn't mean every time this is purple that I'm taking an entry, because obviously there's PO3 conditions and trades that you wouldn't take. But when this pointers, by the way, are stepped like Z in a series of steps. So after we have steps A through fucking Y, when we have our pointer, that is your entry. You can see it'll outline it with a little halo. That is the candle that we would enter on. And then obviously, if you get pointer rejections away from EQ range, then you're going to get out of the trade. So you would look in here to see if you had lower time frame rejections or any other pointer rejections in this, and then you would get out. That's how I use EQ range. Now, if you continue to trade towards EQ range, it is not a respected equilibrium. If you trade through it, it's not respected at all. So you see we create a pointer to the downside, pointer to the upside. I'd get out of my trade here because there's definitely going to be a little bit of PO3. Just sorry, not a pointer to the downside, just one to the upside. I get out of my trade and wait for a new draw of liquidity and then take a new trade. Then we got a new draw of liquidity. There's a lower time frame pointer you can enter on, especially because it's rejecting away from EQ range. You can take this down to those lows again. You'll see that we have a beautiful fucking retracement trade with, you'll see a pointer will pop up. There's your pointer. When it highlights this, drop timeframes and search. It's saying that there are pointers. So drop timeframes and search. When you're in that retracement trade, it is your take profit. You can see this is the cleanest it'll ever be, realistically. When you get pointer rule of 3 in this little pointer box and you're in EQ range, you are in EQ range. Again, I'll be making a more complicated video about this and how we use the top and bottom ticks of EQ range. But for now, if you validate by creating pointers off FFEGs in EQ range, go ahead and take profits, wait for the new draw. Okay, not worth trying to wait on. It's just shitty. Okay, but if you reject to and from, meaning if you reject away from it, like we saw, where was it? Like we saw here, get out if you get a pointer. Okay, if you reject through it, get back in if there was an entry model to the downside and opposite ended pointer, because that trade is not ready to retrace. When it is ready to retrace, then you'll see the retrace to EQ range. That's the thing. So this is showing you that you can't just use it to just instantly be profitable. It's useful for taking care of all the hard work and all the guesswork and doing it accurately. So it's got FFEGs, IFFEGs, every draw liquidity on every time frame you need, the new EQ range, the tickable EQ range, pointers, it outlines pointers, the entry, everything you need, bro. So that means you can literally downgrade your TradingView membership. You can use the cheaper membership because you get the same data. If you get the more expensive membership, you can backtest way further. TradingView has some fucking limitations, we'll say, that doesn't let you go back to like January, some shit with a certain sub. You know how I feel about that, okay? You know how I feel. There's a certain country in the Middle East that's currently in a war that I'm talking about, a specific ethnicity. That's how I feel about that one. And you know what I mean? Perfectly fine. There are workarounds. The idea is if you have a more expensive TradingView subscription, you can access more data. But you can also downgrade your TradingView subscription because it's an unnecessary $15 and instead replace it with this. This is our toolkit. Fluxcharts.com/troop. That's the website. You can go in here. You can see all the features again. In fact, this is the trade I was just showing you right here. You can go and see all of our features on this shit, everything outlined. And I'll give you guys a special discount if you watch this video. Special discount. Code TROOP if you want to get $35 a month for the year. Code TROOP45 and that'll take off $45. So basically the same discount across 12 months, but you actually get 3 free months. So if you get the yearly, you get 12 free. You're only paying for 9 months. So personally, you know what I mean? Make whatever decision you want to make. I'm not saying that this indicator is going to make you profitable, but if you're learning my model and you're learning my strategy and you're trying to get profitable through me and my community, my boy, this shit is a fucking game changer. To me, when I released this shit, my students knew what the fuck this meant. They knew what the fuck this meant. They knew it was over. This is like when AI escapes the lab. It is fucking sick. I've gotten probably 30, 40 testimonials, photos and videos from all my students already, just of them freaking the fuck out about this is like a thing now. Like, it's just insane. So if you want it, the discount code, there's a link in my bio. You can take care of it. This is going to change your life if you let it, okay? Just like everything in life, you have to work, but this shit will make it a whole lot fucking easier. That being said, Troop, you can go in here and you can customize every single thing. You can customize the opacities, the colors, the thickness. In fact, this is the old version, but yours will have a lot more customization to it. You can customize every single thing you see in here. Volume imbalances. It has regular FVGs if you want to, in case you didn't see that. Regular FVGs and volume imbalances. Just give it a second. Boom. Regular FVGs, volume imbalance, FVG. I don't use them, but if you use them, you can have them. And then obviously volume imbalances in here as well. This shit is a game changer. So let me know. Post them fucking payouts, baby. I'm trying to see what happens. See you in the trenches, boys.